Well, it is hard to believe what could happen in just the next couple of months. The longest government shutdown in U.S. history is finally over. The pain will linger, and the next round of this could be at the end of January. These lawmakers can't let that happen. President Trump signed the House-passed bill last night to get funding back to the programs and agencies Americans are relying on. Now the focus is on repairing the economic damage of those 43 days of food insecurity and air traffic chaos and so much more. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. 6 House Democrats bucked their own political party ranks and joined with Republicans to reopen the government. So we saw this on the Senate side with 8 of them, 6 of them in the House. There is movement. Thank the good Lord. President Trump went after the left, who voted to keep it closed. All of those other people outside of the 6 on the left.
The extremists in the other party insisted on creating the longest government shutdown in American history, and they did it purely for political reasons. The total effect of the damage their antics caused will take weeks and probably months to really calculate accurately, including the serious harm that they did to our economy and to people and to families.
So I mentioned just a couple of short months from now could potentially be round 2. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries seems like he wants that.
This fight is not over. We're just getting started. We'll fight today. We'll fight tomorrow. We'll fight this week. We'll fight next week. We'll fight this month. We'll fight next month. We'll fight until we win this battle for the American people.
Boy, I don't know. A whole lot is at stake. Let's take a look at what the first round of that Democratic fight looked like. Nearly 42 million Americans lost their SNAP food assistance benefits. They were suffering. More than 5.2 million airline passengers faced flight delays and cancellations. 1.4 million federal workers went weeks without pay. And the White House estimates the economy lost about $15 billion every week of those 6 weeks. A massive hit of $90 billion over the entire shutdown. When you count everything all up, you can count them 10 zeros. House Republican Conference Chair Lisa McClain comes up in focus. First, senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy. Peter.
Harris, as the sun rose and the dust settled here, the top economic officials, advisors to the president, have determined that it could take months for the economy to fully recover from this shutdown because the projection is that the GDP took a significant hit.
Well, our Council of Economic Advisors said that it cost about $15 billion a week, and it accumulates to maybe 1.5% of GDP when you account for multiplier effects. And their current estimate is that 60,000 Americans, not government workers, have lost their jobs because of the reduced economic output.
Washington, D.C. neighbor Governor Wes Moore writes, "This is exactly why people hate Washington. Once again, Republicans in D.C. are asking us to accept a false choice, fund the government or protect people's health care. That's not leadership. Marylanders know what's at stake. They've lived the shutdown. They're the federal workers who missed paychecks, the SNAP recipients wondering how to feed their families, the seniors worried about keeping the heat on." But another Democrat is warning this might only be over for a couple weeks.
Well, absolutely. It was always just country over the party. And now people just, it never made any sense to shut it down at that point anyway, because now if the Democrats in the Senate now decides in January, you're going to have the opportunity to shut it back down.
If that does wind up happening, though, we would still expect it to be business as usual here because we watched during the length of the shutdown, this president traveled the world. He held high-level meetings, even though things were technically closed. Harris.
Peter, thank you very much. Democrats have pretty much nothing to show for what they just put the country through. And after all of the destruction, this new funding deal only runs through January 30th. And as I mentioned, that means we could be right back in the same mess just 11 weeks from now. Congresswoman Lisa McClain of Michigan, chair of the Republican Conference and member of the Financial Services Committee, is in focus. Good to have you today. First of all, those words, those fighting words from Hakeem Jeffries, what do they mean to you? Have you spoken with him?
Yeah, I have not spoken with Hakeem Jeffries, but what those words mean to me are kind of sad. I want to fight, fight, fight. Fight for what? How about if we work together for the American people to do what's right? But whether it's Hakeem Jeffries or their number two, Catherine Clark, or Chuck Schumer, they're not fighting for the American people, Harris. They're fighting for their communist left wing and for their own skin, right? If we truly want to fight, we need to win. We need to do what's right for the American people. And here's this thing. Why can't we do both? As Republicans, I think we can fund the government and there's that special word, and continue to make progress for the American people, whether it's the economy, whether it's bringing down health care premiums, not for the big insurance companies, but bringing down premiums for the American people. See, there's a big difference, but I think we can do both. It's an and, not an or, Harris.
That is a powerful word, especially right now, and literally a house divided. So we'll be watching for that. And how fast do things get moving, though, to make some of that happen?
Well, we never took our foot off the gas during the shutdown. Our appropriations committees and all of our other committees, but especially the appropriations committees, right, we've been working. We've passed 12 appropriation bills out of the House, and 3 got put in the continuing CR. So our plan is, Republicans, is to continue to work for the American people. If the Democrats want to continue to be obstructionists, that's going to be on them. I hope that's not the case. I hope they want to continue to work for the American people. I know Republicans, we want to work on affordability. We want to work on bringing premiums down. But it sure would help to have a partner on the other side. And if the Democrats want to be obstructionists, that's on them, not on Republicans.
Look, House Speaker Mike Johnson is going after Democrats post this vote last night. Let's watch.
They were more afraid of political retribution from the radicals that now run the Democrat Party than they were afraid about taking the food out of the mouths of hungry families, truly, or about having flights canceled around the country, or making the troops and their families worry about where the next paycheck was going to come from. It was a selfish political stunt. It yielded nothing but pain for the American people.
A new opinion piece hammers that home. Here's a quote. So why did the Democrats do it? From the beginning of the dispute, everyone seems to have understood that Mr. Schumer forced a shutdown because he needed to show his state's progressive voters that he could take it to Mr. Trump and so avoid a primary challenge from the left. It was all for show, literally. Chairwoman McClain, your response.
Well, unfortunately, I happen to agree with the speaker. What did the Democrats gain out of this? I mean, look at the economic impact, the negative economic impact that it had. Look at all the people that didn't get their SNAP benefits, didn't get their paycheck, air traffic. For what? Listen, Harris, I'm a fighter. But you know what's more important than fighting? Winning. Right? So if you fight, don't you want to get something on the back end? Right? Let's stop fighting. To what end? Right? Because at first the shutdown was, we got to show a fight against Trump. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, oh no, it's the Epstein files. Okay, that didn't work. All right, let's make it about health care. The Democrats have no plan, no vision, and no leader. Republicans, let's work for the American people to make things more affordable, to bring health care premiums down for the American people. Let's get this country back on track, which is exactly what we did in the working families tax cut and exactly what President Trump is doing. The Democrats right now just need to stop being obstructionists.
Yeah, and I hear you hitting that word affordability. And it certainly was big here on the East Coast for New Jersey and Virginia and New York with this new mayor, Zohran Mamdani. I mean, that was it. So it sounds like you've got those appropriations bills ready to go. We'll be watching it stem to stern. I hope you'll come back and update us.
We will.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.